Good morning, everyone. It's 9 o'clock, and I was prompted to make sure we all got into our seats and ready to start our meeting. So I'm pleased to be here today to welcome you to TransLink's 2017 annual general meeting. And I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us today. I'd like to first acknowledge that we are meeting here today and operate our services throughout the traditional territory of the Coast Salish people. Today is the National Indigenous Peoples Day, and it's important for us to all reflect on this and how we have benefited and learned so much from their heritage and traditional values. Before we start, I'd like to point out that we're holding two meetings today. The first is our annual general meeting, which I'm now going to call to order. The AGM is an opportunity to report on the past year, to look ahead at the challenges that we have and the opportunities that we have for 2018. Now, I know we're halfway through 2018, but we do have still some more opportunities coming. We'll then give an opportunity for people to raise questions and provide your input on the transportation-related issues, which are very important to us. And we receive feedback on a regular basis, and I just want to say how much we appreciate the interaction that we do have with all of our customers. After the questions and comment period, the AGM will formally end. And following a short break, the second meeting will begin, which is our our open board meeting, which will begin at 10 o'clock. And we'd like to encourage anyone who is available to stay and receive an update on our last quarter. Before I begin my formal remarks, I'd like to introduce my colleagues at the Board of Directors who have joined us here today. And they are, and I'm going to start on my right, Jim Chu, Sarah Clark, Murray Dinwoody, Ann Giardini, Tony Gugliotta, Marcella Sell, Karen Horcher, Mayor Richard Walton, and Mayor Derek Corrigan. I'd like to also acknowledge that Larry Beasley was unable to join us today as he is in Ottawa on some other business. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the hard work and commitment of my fellow board members. I'm very pleased to serve with such a dedicated group. We hold the best interests of the region and its citizens close to our hearts, and because of that, we care about making this a better place for all of us to live. Also joining me here today at the table are members of the TransLink executive team, and at the table to my right is the CEO, Kevin Desmond. The Chief Financial Officer to his right is Rob Malley. The BCRTC, which is the rail company as we call it here, Acting President and General Manager Hayden. Now you might recognize Hayden used to be running the bus company, but he's now transferred over and is helping us out with the rail business. And then the Acting President for the CMBC, which is the bus company, is Dan Savitsky to Hayden's left. And representing Chief Doug Lepard here today is Deputy Chief Mike Cumberworth, and Mike is on the far right. So I just want to thank everybody for joining us here today. So I'm just going to talk about 2017 and do a short review of that. So 2017 was an exceptional and momentous year for TransLink. We made major investments in transit and transportation over the last year, which has been fundamental in improving our customer experience, increasing ridership, keeping our employees and public safe, and delivering key projects to meet the needs of our growing region. Last year was the first year of the implementation of the Mayor's 10-year vision, the blueprint for the future of transportation in Metro Vancouver. We supported TransLink's delivery of the largest single service increase in nearly a decade, adding 210,000 new bus service hours, and expanded the bus service to 3 new communities, which included Clayton Heights, Morgan Creek, and Silver Valley. 2017 also saw the completion and start of several major capital projects. Ongoing investment in the repair, replacement, improvements of roads, cycling paths, aging infrastructure across our system ensures that we can continue to deliver safe, comfortable, and reliable service to our customers for years to come. 4 Expo Line station upgrades were in full swing last year to expand capacity, accessibility, safety, and security. Some highlights of these major upgrades include Metrotown's West Station House opened with 4 new escalators, new fare gates, and compass vending machines. We opened the East Station House at Joyce Collingwood Station, which features improved station design with better lighting and visibility, new elevators, and new and up and down escalators. Announced, we are contributing $4.1 million for the operation, maintenance, and rehabilitation of the major road network in our region. $23 million will go towards 51 municipal projects all across the region, including significant new investments in walking and cycling. Accessibility on Metro Vancouver's transit system continues to be a top priority. Our entire bus fleet is wheelchair accessible, as are all our SkyTrain cars, SkyTrain stations, and C-Bus terminals. Last year, TransLink became the first transit authority in the world to develop and implement a universal fare gate, which we're very proud of. Access program to better serve customers with accessibility needs through the fully automated touchless access to the gated transit system. To date, 75% of our SkyTrain stations are equipped with technology that we can expect station installations to be fully complete by the end of 2018. At the close of the year, we accepted TransLink's recommendation for a new handy-dart service provider. With the new provider, First Canada, transitioning over in July, TransLink will have greater oversight and accountability over the organization operations, allowing for them to have improved service standards for our customers. By the end of the year, TransLink recorded record ridership numbers. Ridership grew by 5.7% over 2016. October 2017 had the highest ridership of any month on record except February of 2010 when Vancouver hosted the Winter Olympics. TransLink also reached record ridership of 408 million boardings, the highest number ever experienced on the system in a single year. This really does demonstrate that when we invest in transit, we see a direct impact on our ridership. Much of the success of the past year would not have been possible without the passion and leadership of TransLink CEO Kevin Desmond, who has not only made a mark on the region, but has also helped to change the public perception of the enterprise. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize the 7,300 plus employees across the enterprise for their hard work, passion, and dedication as they work diligently to provide services that are essential to keep our region moving and make this organization a wonderful place to work. Before closing, I'd like to emphasize that each of us on the board cares deeply about the region and what happens here. We're motivated by making Metro Vancouver a better place to live while keeping the best interests of the citizens and the organization top of mind. We must continue to build on this momentum of the past year to deliver on our commitment to contribute towards a more livable region. I'd now like to invite Rob Malley, our Chief Financial Officer and Executive Vice President of Financial and Corporate Services, to share highlights from the 2017 Accountability Report with you. Rob?
Thank you, Lorraine. Good morning, everyone. I joined TransLink team less than 6 months ago, and it's been a humbling experience to work alongside such visionary leaders like Lorraine and so many others around the room here today. As an organization that is accountable to the public and the taxpayers, each year TransLink releases an annual report that outlines our financial performance. This year, we're doing something different to tell the story beyond the numbers. Today, we're unveiling our first ever accountability report. Here, we provide information on our 2017 performance related to ridership, financial sustainability, safety and security, customer experience, our employees, and our commitment to the environment. We're holding ourselves accountable for our actions and resources relative to our commitments. I encourage all of you to read the report, now available on our website. We chose a theme, creating a more livable region, because across the enterprise, we're motivated by contributing to safe, healthy, and vibrant communities connected by a reliable and sustainable transportation network. As you just heard from Lorraine, 2017 saw record ridership across the region. To deliver on this massive service expansion, we needed to recruit and train more employees. Last year, we filled 1,400 positions. including 405 conventional transit operators and 122 community shuttle operators. I commend our human resources and operator training teams for this unprecedented undertaking. Our ability to deliver a safe and efficient transportation system depends on the skill and commitment of our people across TransLink and our operating companies. We are represented by 7,369 employees who work hard every day to serve the public. They are the heart and soul of our organization that keeps us on track and driving forward. This year, recruitment is already underway to bring on another 525 bus operators. We look forward to welcoming all new employees on board. Our employees care deeply about giving back. This past year, employees across the enterprise raised nearly $300,000 for the United Way of the Lower Mainland. This is a real testament of the strong connection employees have to the community they work, live, and play in. Of course, at TransLink, the safety of our employees and customers is paramount. This year, we introduced bus operator safety protection barriers into our fleet. This measure is designed to protect the operator and customers, as an assault on an operator can put all customers at risk. With over 400,000 people traveling on our system every day, our number one priority is ensuring our customers can travel throughout the region in a safe, sustainable manner and that they feel secure every step of the way. Metro Vancouver is served by the only dedicated transit police service in Canada. Transit police go above and beyond, sometimes risking their lives, to ensure the safety and security of all who use and work along the transit system. They, along with their CMBC security staff, go to great lengths to provide an exceptional customer experience for the many people they encounter each day. When customers feel safe and secure and feel that employees are responsive to their needs, this has an impact on our overall customer satisfaction ratings. In 2017, we received our highest overall score for customer satisfaction in the past 5 years. Some of the reasons we attribute this increase: TransLink's largest service increase since 2009, as well as continuous efforts to improve customer safety and satisfaction, more communications with customers to provide information and advice about travel plans, more public safety and community outreach initiatives through Transit Police, and better information for customers such as wayfinding signage. We pay very close attention to our customer satisfaction results because we want customers to feel confident they're getting value out of their hard-earned money. And this is good for ridership, as we continue to see record growth across the region. Customer satisfaction, also an indicator for taxpayers, our government partners, and investors that we are operating an efficient system and making prudent use of our revenue resources. We're accountable to the public for ensuring we remain financially viable. In 2017, transit revenues were $591 million, 9% higher than 2016, which is a reflection of the record ridership. Maintaining a strong financial reputation and high-quality credit rating is critical to ensuring that TransLink can access capital markets in a cost-effective manner. In 2017, once again reaffirming TransLink's strong AA credit rating. Investors rely heavily on this rating to make the decision to invest in TransLink and our region. TransLink is currently the only transportation agency in Canada to issue bonds directly in our name through the Canadian debt capital markets as a way of raising financing. And last year, we went back to the marketplace with our 10th bond issue, successfully bringing in $200 million that will go towards financing capital projects. And since 2010, TransLink has raised more than $1.5 billion through our bond issues. That speaks to the confidence that our investors have in us. Looking ahead, with the Phase 2 investment plan underway, I'm happy to report that TransLink is in a strong financial position. We have started the process of researching green bonds and the applicability for TransLink's borrowing program. To us, it's the right thing to do with little to no change in the way we currently issue bonds. The difference is that proceeds are tied directly to our green projects. We create a more livable region by offering alternative options that encourage smart, sustainable transportation choices for the public. Sustainability is one of our core values, and we are continually implementing measures to reduce our own carbon footprint, such as replacing older fleet vehicles with cleaner, low-carbon technologies, In 2017, we reduced our revenue fleet greenhouse gas emissions per boarded passenger by almost 4% from 2016, even though we increased service on all our transit modes. And last year, CMBC received an environmental award from the Recycling Council of BC for their sustainability initiatives, including recycling old uniforms, reducing bus idling time by 35% since 2009, implementing a water recycling system for bus washing that reduces water use by 75%. By riding on transit, you are choosing a more sustainable option. But our work does not end here. We will keep pushing the envelope on future green projects. And now I'll turn the floor over to our CEO, Kevin Desmond, to speak more about TransLink's priorities for 2018.
Thank you, Rob, and thank you, Lorraine, as well. I think they outlined very concisely. It was a strong year for TransLink, a lot of initiatives, a lot of accomplishment going forward. And we began last year to deliver on really the billions of dollars of initial improvements to the system unleashed by the adoption of the first phase investment plan in late 2016, and that drove so much of TransLink's opportunities last year and helped to certainly drive that record ridership. But 2017 was just the beginning, and we are continuing to work very diligently to advance our overall strategic plans to improve livability in our system. We are actively managing to the expectation of 1 million new residents here over the next 30 years. That is the basis for really everything that we are doing in TransLink in so many ways. With that's going to come, and is already adding considerable stress and pressure on our transportation network, on the traffic, roads, our bridges, and so on and so forth. The capacity of the network is strained now. The future, if we don't do something very effective and decisive, will be strained well beyond that capacity. And in that context, our role is to maintain and improve the livability of our region. Our strategy and programs are designed to support that goal. So I'm going to talk what we're doing here in 2018 and what's coming for the rest of the year in a variety of different dimensions. First, the customer experience and building public support. Rob just referenced, we've been making very good progress on customer satisfaction results, and that's really at the heart of everything we do here at TransLink, putting our customer first. We had our highest overall performance rankings in the last 5 years last year, and we're seeing trends continuing so far this year. We work very hard as well at TransLink to earn the public trust, and there is evidence that we are making good progress. A recent independent poll by BC Business Magazine found that TransLink had the greatest brand gain of 65 major companies and corporations studied in that by that magazine in their ongoing polling. We moved up 23% or 16 spots in our ranking. It's an independent assessment, but it suggests that we're on the right path of improving our reputation and earning that trust from the general public. And that's an indication that we are not only on the right track, but we have to continue to double down to deliver a safe, reliable, and efficient transit system. So not only our customers, but overall taxpayers in this region have confidence in the products that we put out each and every day. Some examples of where we're heading in this direction. We've been talking a lot about our double-decker buses. We are soon to be entering into contracts to bring the first of 32 of our double-deckers to provide improved service to our suburban riders on our suburban express bus routes. It's an indication of what's important here. They're efficient to put out on the road, and they provide a better customer experience, and they provide greater capacity for us to absorb additional ridership. Rob mentioned very proudly, I think, our approach to sustainability, to environmental sustainability, social sustainability. We're only one of 5 North American transit systems recognized by the American Public Transportation Association at the platinum level on the sustainability commitment. And in fact, this summer we are hosting APTA's annual sustainability conference here in Vancouver. We're very proud to bring the industry to our region to show off all the good things we are doing on that on that front. We announced earlier this year that we will be trialing 4 electric fast charge battery buses. Those buses should be here in the early part of 2019, so a lot of work will be done by the end of this year to install the charging stations and begin to bring those buses here into commission the buses. We recently announced the first of 106 new compressed natural gas buses that will be sited at the Surrey bus depot to provide clean energy services to south of Fraser region. Those buses emit 13 to 21% less GHG emissions than comparable diesel buses. This year we began developing our low carbon fleet strategy, looking forward to the future. What is the future for our fleet procurement into the next decades? And we will continue to work closely with the board, the Mayor's Council, and Metro Vancouver on the evolution of that low carbon fleet strategy. These are exciting times in our industry. Many developments and advances in battery technology and zero emission technology. TransLink wants to be at the forefront of those developments. On May 22nd, we launched our Tap to Pay program, allowing people with Visa, MasterCard, chip cards, and mobile payment devices on their cell phones to tap directly into the Compass system. We believe this program not only improving the accessibility and customer satisfaction of the system, but I also think it's going to help drive ridership, particularly for very infrequent users of our system and the many visitors who come to our region through YVR, through the passenger terminal downtown, and we're already seeing very good pickup on that program. We've spent a lot of time in 2017. We will spend a lot of time continuing in 2018 to improve our HandyDart service and services for people with disabilities. As Lorraine mentioned, on July 1st, we will be transferring the operations of HandyDart to a new operator. We believe that puts us in a better position for a fresh start to improve service. We continue to make very good strides to implement the recommendations of the HandyDart Advisory Committee from a year and a half ago. Customer information is really very, very important. That's that we all know that we have to put out a quality product on the road with our trains, but we have to provide good, accurate, and timely information to our customers, and we are making strides on that. Last year, we began the process of installing new bus stop signs at our over 4,000 bus stops in this system. About 1,000 of those signs have been installed to date, and by the end of the year, the entire system will have new signs. Seems like a minor thing, but in the old days, a sign would simply say bus stop. These new signs now provide important, necessary information so that our customers know the bus route, where the bus is going, and how to text in to get real-time information. And I applaud CNBC for accelerating that installation process. Starting this fall, we will begin the process of rehabilitating all of the public address announcement systems in all of our Expo line stations and all of the original Millennium line stations. Those stations should all be complete with the improved PAs by the end of 2019. Similarly, this fall we will be beta testing the beginnings of new electronic signage both on the platforms and outside SkyTrain stations. We expect the full rollout of that program to begin later this year and then throughout 2019. That will be a sea change of an information improvement in the SkyTrain system. So we're looking forward to the deployment of those new signs. Ensuring the state of good repair of our system is an absolute priority for this organization. The Expo line is going into its 32nd year. We've got to maintain our assets for today as well as tomorrow. A few months ago, we unveiled our 2018 maintenance and repair program. This is the construction season, as it were, and a significant portion of TransLink's capital program is intended to maintain all of our assets in that state of good repair. And I applaud this board and the mayors for making sure that this organization's finances prioritize maintaining the assets in state of good repair. Earlier this year, we completed the Joyce Collingwood Station upgrade. are almost finished with the Metrotown, Commercial Broadway, and Surrey Central Station upgrades. In fact, we're having a ribbon cutting for the completion of the Metrotown station coming up soon. Those are just a precursor for additional station rehabs coming in the phase 2 of the mayor's plan. We're also now just kicking off the rehabilitation of our very old escalators on the Expo Line stations. The first of those was the Granville station. Last month, we closed off portions of the Granville station to replace the six very old escalators. Most of the escalator systems on the Expo Line station are original equipment. They're over 30 years old. Their time is due. We need to get those replaced. We have an accelerated program working on ultimately 12 station improvements. Some 37 escalators need to be replaced. That accelerated program is saving money and is getting the new escalators replaced faster, but it is more impactful for our customers. And the Granville station is an illustration of that. We're doing everything in our power to minimize the disruptions to our customers. Transit-oriented development is really one of the highlights, I think, of our region's transit system and our region's land use. It's something when I travel around North America, at least in the newer cities, not counting the old northeastern cities in North America, we are second to none in transit-oriented development around our SkyTrain network, and that is fueling the exceptional and extraordinary ridership growth. For example, 82% of all new homes in Metro Vancouver are built within walking distance to transit. So that intersection of land use planning and transportation and transit planning is paying off and is the future very much of our region. Our adjacent and integrated development program is the locus for where we work closely with municipalities and developers to make sure that we are building around our system in a safe way, but also that we can support those developments. For example, some 49,000 new homes that can accommodate up to 120,000 people are being built or planned around the SkyTrain network now, and the AID program is in full support of that. Delivering on the mayor's vision, clearly one of our priorities. That was the focus of last year's work, and hopefully will be the focus of our work over the next 9 years as we roll out the second phase of the program. After last year's huge increase in bus service, we still have another 50,000 hours of bus service to implement over this year, and we are buying additional rolling stock buses and handy dart vehicles to accommodate that additional service. And we are building our new C-Bus, which should be here at the beginning of next year to continue to improve C-Bus service. We've recently begun and accelerated our planning around the 4 new B lines that will be implemented in the latter portion of 2019. In particular, considerable community involvement on the planning for the B lines. Most importantly, we are looking for the cities, the jurisdictions within which these B lines will be operating, to help us operate the service with greater priority on the right-of-way. We can provide the buses, we can provide the frequency, the cities have to help us with the bus priority. If we can give buses that much additional priority, they can be faster, more reliable, and therefore we can attract and retain greater ridership on the B lines. So we're very excited with that program, and we are very excited with the response that we are getting from the municipalities. We are also very close to adopting the Phase 2 investment plan. There have been several media and press conferences around that. It's historic. It will be the largest single transit investment in the history of British Columbia. So we are eager to get that done so we can move into the major capital expansions and the continuation of significant increases in our services, SkyTrain, Handy Dart, and bus services going forward. And that is, as Lorraine pointed out, these service improvements that we had in 2017 and going forward are coming just in time in this extraordinary growth in demand in our region. So again, I applaud the wisdom of the mayors in the vision. Our job is to implement. Our job is to meet all of our promises going forward. A lot of stakeholder engagement's been going on. We need to be a responsive organization. We need to be known as an organization that is reaching out to the general public and our customers, that is listening and it is responding to what we are listening to. Some of the things that we've been doing: updating our fare policy. We are now in the final round of public engagement on our fare policy review. We had a media event just the other day laying out our proposals going forward. We've had significant, during the course of the fare policy program, significant public input into that. We are now just starting what I think is going to be a very, very exciting public dialogue about the next 30 years for transportation and transit in our region, with the update of our regional transportation strategies. So that public engagement will be picking up during the course of the latter part of this year, as we begin to envision what comes next. What comes next from public transit? What comes next with alternative form of transportation, from the shared economy, automated vehicles, and so forth. So we'll be looking forward to getting a lot of public input on that. I would be remiss if I did not also talk about the work we do on our major road network and our regional goods movement strategy. This is sort of very much behind the scenes, unsung work, but we've been doing, I think, important work working with the municipalities and with the various different industry interests to help advance an agenda to make sure our gateway and our trade and our overall commerce continues to work effectively within our otherwise constrained and congested transportation environment. We've been advancing the development of regional road network, working with municipalities for a more performance-based approach to how we identify future investments in the major road network. We've been streamlining processes to improve freight efficiency. We have a cacophony of different rules and regulations throughout all the different municipalities in our region. We've been working very closely with those municipalities to harmonize municipal policies and procedures related to issuing permits for oversized and overweight vehicles. And we're also working on improved traveler information as relates to truckers. We have traveler information for motorists. We have traveler information, of course, for our transit customers. We need to find better information for truckers so that they can move as efficiently as possible through our byways. So we have a huge and active agenda here at TransLink, and that's what this region needs. We have an exceptional staff at this organization, whether the office workers or our exceptional frontline staff. We are absolutely committed to implementing the policy of the mayors and this board and the other regional policies we want to deliver, and we want to help make a livable future for this region. Madam Chair.
Thank you. So now I think you're supposed to open it up to questions, Mr. CEO.
I'm supposed to open it up for questions. We look forward to your questions, and with that, I think staff is going to help facilitate. Chris Bryan will facilitate questions from the audience.
Thank you. If you could just indicate with a raised hand if you have a question, and if we can keep it to, if there's lots, we'll try to just do one at a time, come back if you have a second question. We have one over here.
Project got two together. Related differently, but it's together. So my first question I have is, I was wondering, like, I've been to other places in the world that use smart card systems that are like similar to a compass, and I notice whenever they've got like big events like a hockey game or a concert or something, or like even during that just like the rush hour when people are getting to and from work, in order for speed up the process, they just leave all the fare gates open and people just walk right through. So we have big events here as well too, like our hockey games and like fireworks and stuff. Why can't we just leave the fare gates open during those times?
Well, that's a good question. So managing large crowds of people during the many, many special events here that we have in our region, particularly in downtown Vancouver, is something that I think we actually do very well and we pay a lot of attention to. So I compliment again our SkyTrain attendants at SkyTrain, our bus supervisors and the transit police with managing crowd control. If we got into a station situation where it became too difficult, yes, they've got the authority to open the fare gates and keep people moving. However, one of the reasons that we implemented our Tap to Pay program was to help people move in and out of the system as quickly as possible. After events, say at BC Place and Rogers Arena, I've been down there at Stadium Station and you see people lining up to go to the vending machines, very long lines. Well, they don't have to do that anymore. They can just tap to go with their credit card or their mobile device. So maintaining safety in the system during major events is first and foremost. So if our field personnel need to do things to maintain that safety, we will do that. On the other hand, we also have to collect fares. Taxpayers pay a very significant portion of the operations of the system, and they expect the users of the system to pay their fares as well. I think we can balance that very effectively in the field.
I'll just come back here and we'll come back to you in a moment.
Hi there, I'm Kelly Rayburn. I'm one of the delegates. I'll explain more transit details later on. I guess it's a 5-minute delegation. 2 questions on the fare situation. I noticed that the fare reductions are both on the SkyTrain and the C-Bus, and there's no indication on the West Coast Express fare reductions on that part. Is that going to happen, or is West Coast Express still going to be the 3 or 4 or 5 zones on that matter? And then on the Escalator Granville SkyTrain stations, are there be any more further projects of other escalators going up and down stations throughout the SkyTrain region?
So to your first question, no, the West Coast Express fare structure will remain the same. It's commuter rail, and given the distance between the stations, has its own unique characteristic. We're going to keep the West Coast, we're proposing to keep the West Coast Express fare system the same. To your second question, the Granville escalator is the first. Escalator project is the first of what will be a major rehabilitation of escalators at 12 additional stations over the next 1 to 2 years. So Granville is first, others will be coming. But the intent is the oldest of the equipment must be replaced so that we can get another 20 or 30 years out of the new equipment.
I'll continue on after the delegations. Thank you very much.
Okay. I'm just going to go to this gentleman here and we'll come back to you in a moment.
Why can't that escalator work be done off the customer hours so that the escalators can remain in use during the daytime?
Well, for the major replacement, so for example, the Granville project, you have to, in effect, dig out all the old equipment and put new equipment in. You can't keep them operational. For routine repairs, maybe Hayden can respond to this quickly as well. For just routine maintenance on the escalator system, I think we try to do that as best we can to minimize impact on customers. The reality is we have our laborers who do this work. To the extent to which we have to find specialized technicians to manage escalators, and there is a shortage of technicians throughout North America. It bedevils not only transit agencies, but any entity that's maintaining their escalators. Getting them to work overnight is very difficult. So we realize that when escalators have to be shut down for planned routine maintenance, it's an imposition. I think we do everything in our power to do those in off-peak times. When there's unscheduled maintenance, we try to get out to repair those escalators as quickly as possible. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Hayden.
Kevin's covered most of it. Sometimes when we have an escalator break down and they go in and dismantle it, they can't get it operational and then come back and fix it. So it goes out for 24, 48 hours. We do our very best to try to do it off hours, for sure.
That question?
Hi there. I was just wondering if any of you could speak to any, going into the latter half of 2018, any additional works that would be coming up for the extension of the Millennium line along Broadway. I haven't heard too much more about it, but I would want to hear if there's any additional work on the ground that's going to be happening or any additional planning that's going to be happening going into 2018, 2019.
So we are expecting the Board of Directors and the Mayor's Council to adopt the Phase 2 investment plan shortly. Phase 2 investment plan includes the Surrey Light Rail project, the Millennium line, the Broadway subway extension, considerable capital investments along the Expo and Millennium lines, as well as significant increases in in our services. Millennium Line project, if the Phase 2 plan is approved, we expect that will go out for initial procurement later on this year. We would hope to complete the procurement process by the end of 2019 if we stay on schedule, and actual real construction would then start sometime in 2020. So no, I do not expect any significant, if Sandy is here, any other significant early works on the Millennium Line project. There are some early works that have been going on in Surrey to support that project, but for Millennium Line, it's, yeah. But we're on track, so it's like, once the plan gets all of its final approvals from our joint body, then it's green light. We're on the way to start building the Broadway extension.
Another question?
Yeah, and my other question I had is I noticed that for when we had the double-decker test buses here, because they are longer distance, they did have charging ports on there, USB ports and actual just standard plugins. So I was wondering, when we get our double-decker buses, can't they? Is there a way that they actually have allow people to actually charge up their devices on long? I know it doesn't make sense on a lot of the shorter rides, but to me, I think a lot of the longer distance rides, it actually does make sense, because you're going a further distance, you may need to charge up. It's I know probably not every passenger needs to do it anyway, so I don't see it going to be an issue. So is there a reason why we actually can't do that, even when we had our Orions, and reason why we didn't have charging ports on them?
Dan?
So our specs for the new double-decker, which we're in the process of procuring, do include USB ports and some reading lights, other customer amenities like that.
Okay.
Any other questions from the floor? One over here. Okay.
Morning. Could you tell us the status of the Golden Ears Bridge and how TransLink is going to be kept whole there, or do you expect that ownership of that bridge to be transferred to the province?
Last summer in August, after the province had announced its intent to remove the tolls from the Port Mann Bridge, they requested that TransLink do the same with the Golden Ears Bridge. We entered into negotiations and completed an agreement with the province that it would keep TransLink completely whole for the foregone fare revenue. So that agreement is in place. So there's been no fiscal impact on TransLink for the bridge. The disposition, the ultimate ownership of the bridge is something that TransLink and the province have been discussing, but we have nothing to say at this point about that. So at this point, we still own and operate the bridge. The province is reimbursing us for all of the lost fare revenue.
And that that offset is reported out in the financial statements. So we understand what that transfer is, and is there a forecast going forward?
Yeah, I would. Rob can answer what's in the financial statement. The agreement we have with the province is not only to reimburse us on the toll revenue last year, but it's reimbursing us on the curve that we had expected over our long-term financial plan in terms of the growth in revenue. So that growth is built into the firm agreement we have with the province. In terms of our financial statements?
Yes, it is included in our financial statements under both the Golden Ears Bridge tolls as well as government transfers.
Another question here?
Yeah, one more question on the electric buses. I'm assuming you're going to be purchasing a lot of these electric buses in the near future. The question is on trolley buses. Are they going to be replaced with those electric buses, or what's happening with those in the Vancouver City?
Very good question. So we have purchased 4 test buses from 2 different manufacturers. They will be using fast charge technology. So we have 2 docking stations, 2 chargers. They'll be used on the Route 100. As I said in my prepared remarks, those buses will be here hopefully first quarter, ready for service first quarter of next year. Part of our low carbon fleet strategy that I referenced is looking forward to our entire fleet plan into the next decade, and that includes the requirement to replace the aging trolley fleet. That trolley fleet is scheduled to be replaced by 2024, 2025, Dan?
starting in 2025, going through to 2029.
So one of the things we will be looking at very, very carefully is whether or not the state of the battery technology is such that it might warrant replacing the trolley system with battery buses, whether they are fast charge buses or overnight depot charging. So that is part and parcel of the very detailed analyses that TransLink is undertaking right now. It will help us determine what the fate of the trolley buses are. We love our zero emission buses in Vancouver and the trolley network. They do great work. And our commitment is one way or the other, we will still have a zero emission profile in Vancouver. Whether or not they are trolleys or battery buses, that's a determination that will be coming in the future. But we have time to make that decision.
Okay, last call for questions from the floor. One more over here.
What's wrong with having the overhead lines for the electric buses? I was told that a minimum of 4 buses an hour during the peak periods is required to make that installation of lines practical, right? And now the buses from Burrard Station to Simon Fraser University up to 8 or 10 buses an hour, and they're still using these diesel buses that are the TransLink is the biggest polluter of the air in this region. Why not have electric buses? Put the trolleys up there. They're halfway there to Kootenay now. All you have to do is put them across Burnaby. Now, I asked that of the customer relations on the telephone, and they said, "Oh, Burnaby won't accept that." And I asked a senior official in Burnaby. They said, "That's nonsense. We've never said that."
So our commitment here at TransLink, and I think you heard from both Rob Mallion and I in our remarks, our commitment to environmental sustainability and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. I feel very passionately about that. That is why we've undertaken very, very detailed work in our low carbon fleet strategy. So we are looking forward to what I hope will be an accelerated deployment of zero emission buses into the next decade. Whether or not they would be battery buses, whether or not what the electric trolley network might look like in the future, that's all part of the conversation. Now, as for whether or not TransLink's and our buses are the biggest polluters in the region, we operate a lot of buses. We've got some 1,500 buses out in the system. We've been making great strides in transitioning our fleet from old-fashioned diesel buses to clean diesel buses, to compressed natural gas buses. I mentioned the first of 106 new CNG buses coming to Surrey. Diesel hybrid electric buses that have a much lower emission profile than the old diesels. And our electric bus test that I've referenced before is the beginning of how we see accelerating the deployment of electric buses. The trolley network is very expensive to operate. So I operated trolley buses in Seattle as well. I think there's 5 regions now in North America that still have trolley buses. The buses themselves are very expensive, and maintaining the overhead network is very expensive. So in the context of our low carbon fleet strategy, we're going to do our best to make sure that we get the best value for the tax dollar going forward.
One quick follow.
That the buses with natural gas are still polluting the air. They're still putting carbon dioxide into the air.
As I said, our low carbon fleet strategy will be is intended to lay out a course for our policymakers' approval to get this organization as close to zero emission as possible in the years ahead. This nation and this province have very aggressive GHG reduction targets. We want to embrace those targets. So yeah, we're on the same page as you, and it will take time to get there, but our intent is to make sure we can get there when the technology is available, that the equipment is reliable, and that it still has a very strong value for the taxpayer dollar.
pass things back now to Lorraine Cunningham, the TransLink Board Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. Well, I want to thank everyone for coming. This concludes our AGM. I'll call the meeting adjourned. Thank you all very much.